The story begins with an accident, a really severe one, where a truck has just crashed into a car and sent it flying. Right after that, we can see the eyes of a man we know quite well, who in this story plays a guy named Cole, sitting in the lobby of a building and watching everyone attentively. A few seconds later, Cole receives a notice through the earpiece discreetly tucked in his ear, and he moves quickly toward the elevator area, where he waits patiently for the doors to open. Coming out of the elevator is his boss, a man named Tibu, accompanied by his son Cameron. So now we know Cole is a bodyguard, and a pretty good one, since he has everything under control. From what we can gather from their conversation, Tibu has just sold his company, and although he is sad to leave everything behind, it is a good deal, and he is doing this for his family. After a while, Cole manages to drive the family straight home without any trouble. This allows him to take some time off, but that is not something he plans to do, as there is a very important meeting tomorrow, and he must review the guest list to make sure everything goes smoothly. After a long day of work, Cole plays a game of chess with his boss, who recalls that today would have been his father's birthday if he were still alive. So when night falls, Cole cannot help but look through the old album to see the photos that have been there for a very long time. The following evening, Tibu attends a city hotel for a gathering with his friends, who wish to have dinner with him for his birthday. As expected, the place is packed and everyone has come to celebrate him, as he has finally decided to retire. While Tibu gives his speech, a somewhat strange guy appears, and Cole tells his team to check the guest list to see who he is. There, they discover he is Tibu's main rival, a man in the same industry, but with far lower work ethics. His name is Yaron Danilis, and although he is also in Trans-Pacific exports, his company has been sued many times for scandals and transporting illegal items, and he is likely here either to steal Tibu's clients or to cause some kind of scene. Tibu gifts a Rolex watch to his son, but he also has one for Cole, inscribed with the date they first met, the very day Cole saved his life and joined the family. After the party, Cole drives Tibu back home, discussing what comes next now that the company has been sold, hoping Cameron will find his own path and be as successful as his father was. But halfway there, they hit a roadblock. A cement truck blocks the middle of the road, and two police officers on motorcycles yell at them to get out of the car. However, Cole wasn't born yesterday, and puts the car in reverse to get out of there immediately. The only problem is another car blocks their path from behind, making it quite obvious that they have fallen into a trap. The first thing Cole does upon noticing the weapons is step on the gas, running over the officers, killing the truck driver, and searching for an escape route. Since going forward is impossible, he shifts into reverse, ramming into the attackers with all the force he can muster. He then steps out of the vehicle and begins executing them one by one. The bad news is that the armored glass failed to hold, and a bullet hit Tibu straight in the chest. In his final moments of life, Cole swears to protect his son, just as he tried to protect him tonight. With the few seconds he has left, Cole calls Taran, his head of house security, ordering him to put Cameron under immediate protection. In addition, he gives him the passport number of one of the dead attackers, which reveals he was a company employee who was supposed to be aboard a ship that very night. At the same time, one of his men informs Yaron that the plan is nearly complete. Tibu is dead. However, his bodyguard escaped after killing 6 of their men. Yaron's power is so extensive that in less than an hour, Cole's face is all over the news as the prime suspect in the murder of 2 police officers and his client, Tibu Campalo, former owner of the international conglomerate KMG. While all this is happening, we see a woman named Ellis receive a call from the new company owners, telling her she must report to the Artemis in 1 hour because they are short-staffed. If she fails to show up, her termination letter will be waiting in the morning. After that, we return to Cole, who has arrived at the port carrying the dead man's passport and a change of clothes. He waits patiently for an opportunity to board the ship and uncover who is responsible for Tibu's death. Meanwhile, at the estate, a detective named Yame arrives to interrogate Cameron. When the boy gets a call from Cole, he tries to stay calm, while Cole tells him they were ambushed and that the police are working for those responsible. So if a detective shows up trying to question him, he must stall for as much time as possible, as Cole is determined to find out who behind this. Cole tells him to stay safe and trust only Taran, because whoever killed his father will surely target him next. Hanging up the phone, our protagonist moves toward the port, intending to use the dead guy's passport to board the ship without drawing attention. Although the security guard gives him a second look, he can't tell the difference between the photo and the man standing before him. Luckily, one of the mercenaries closely resembled Cole. Cole. He manages to board just before the police arrive and line everyone up against the wall. Step by step, Cole navigates the port, keeping his eyes open as he gets closer to the Artemis, the ship the killers supposedly boarded that night. As soon as he steps onto the ship, one of the men tries to call out to him, but Cole keeps walking and picks up his pace. Up in the captain's office, we meet Marco, who is not at all pleased that Ellis has been assigned to his crew. He trusts his own men, but one reported sick, and this direct corporate order cannot be disobeyed. The moment Ellis leaves, Marco orders one of his men to keep her under constant surveillance. They cannot afford any mistakes, especially on this voyage. Back with Cole, he moves stealthily through the ship until he finds a perfect hiding spot to wait until they set sail. Once out on the open sea, Cole emerges from the rescue vehicle and slowly navigates the corridors, searching for any clue explaining why his boss was killed and why the new owners are trying to frame him. During her night rounds, Ellis notices an open hatch that it is her job to inspect, leading her to follow Cole's trail. Cole eventually reaches the cargo bay, where he hears the worst possible noise inside a shipping container. Opening one of the container doors, Cole discovers dozens of people trapped inside, including young boys and girls. One of them speaks English and tells him they have been locked up since Bangkok, that many are taken at every port stop, and that several are injured. Before Cole can help them, he hears Ellis asking if anyone is there, forcing him to hide. Seconds later, Ellis finds the captives and lets them out, assuring them she has called for help. But when Marco's men arrive below deck, she realizes this is a conspiracy. The men bring her to the captain, who claims everything will be handled according to protocol, but she senses he is lying and escapes at the first opportunity. Down in the cargo bay, Cole watches Marco's men force the captives back into the container, beating those who resist. The English-speaking girl refuses to go back inside, especially with her injured daughter. Just as one of the men pulls out a gun to execute her, Cole intervenes, grabbing his arm and delivering a series of blows that knock him out cold. The next attacker is much stronger, but Cole grabs an open padlock and shoves the metal shackle into the man's mouth, tearing open his cheek. Seconds later, gunfire erupts. The people inside the container try to help Cole however they can, but although one of them grabs a gun, he lacks the courage to pull the trigger and is quickly overwhelmed by Marco's men. Ellis reaches the bridge. Trying to remain undetected, she reaches for the phone to call the Navy. However, the officer on duty notices her, draws his weapon, and orders her to stand still without making sudden movements, or he will shoot. Down below, the man with the slashed face returns with a knife to kill Cole, but Cole uses the narrow space between the containers to avoid the blade and strike back. Taking advantage of the man's wound to inflict maximum pain, Cole plunges the knife into his throat, securing the kill. But with more men approaching, he needs a plan fast. Spotting a gun on the floor, he dives for it and shoots the remaining attackers, buying a few moments of peace to figure out what to do with the scared and injured captives stranded in the middle of the ocean. Up on the bridge, Ellis takes advantage of a moment when the armed guard is distracted, striking him with a flashlight and escaping before the captain arrives. At the control console, she checks the codes and finds she can broadcast a distress signal for a pirate attack, guaranteeing a quick Navy response. After entering the code and hitting the button, Ellis flees immediately. The captain breaks through the window, but with only half a second to fire, his shot misses. Meanwhile, Cole leads the captives to the rescue vehicle, which holds up to 25 people, enough for now. From his position, Cole hears the captain firing shots at Ellis, but she manages to stay hidden and keep running while he reloads. The captain uses his code to cancel the emergency broadcast, leaving them to hope the Coast Guard doesn't show up. Their first priority now is disabling the lifeboats so no one can leave the ship. Moments later, we see Ellis has taken a bullet to the shoulder. Despite the injury, she pushes forward to find a hiding place, but with a 24-day journey ahead, she cannot survive long with an open wound. Once everyone is inside the rescue vehicle, Cole hands a gun to the strongest young man he sees, placing him in charge while he goes back to help the woman who was taken, as she is innocent in all this. While all this unfolds, the scene shifts to the nearest Navy vessel, where Captain Spencer receives the piracy alert report. However, records show they are over 900 kilometers from any illegal activity reported in recent years, making him suspect it might be a false alarm. Still, something tells him to do his job thoroughly. He instructs his officers to contact the Artemis immediately to speak with the captain. During their call, Marco is far from convincing, fueling Spencer's suspicions. Back on land, the detective is aggressive with his questions, demanding to know know Cole's location and whether they have any useful information. But Taryn and Cameron have known Cole for years and know he loved Tibu like a father. They choose to trust him and withhold information from the police, recognizing that the authorities are compromised and untrustworthy. Back with Cole, he finally finds Ellis and hides with her in a cabin, taking a moment to explain that he is not part of the group behind the operation. The few seconds it takes for them to realize they are on the same side is enough time for Marco's men to kill the young man protecting the captives, drag everyone out of the rescue vehicle, and shove them back into the containers to cover up the crime. But to succeed, they must also kill Ellis and Cole, as they are living witnesses to their crimes. As for the dead boy, they simply throw his body overboard since there is no record of him. Fortunately for Cole, Ellis's job requires her to know every inch of the ship, allowing her to guide them to a safe spot to bandage her wound. Inside the rescue vehicle, Joseph finds the passport belonging to his best friend Jonathan, realizing the intruder used it to board the ship and that Jonathan is likely dead. Ellis leads Cole to one of the engine rooms, but she is losing a lot of blood, and they urgently need a first aid kit. Above, Joseph shows the captain what he found in the lifeboat, and Marco learns that his men on land were killed. Realizing this intruder is dangerous, Marco orders his men to kill him and dump his body into the sea. If the Navy conducts a flyover, any evidence could send them to prison for life. Left alone, Marco calls his boss, reporting a major problem on board and asking him to use his influence to buy them more time. Simultaneously, Cole moves quickly through the machinery area, but the deafening noise forces them to use headsets to communicate. Fortunately, he finds a first aid kit, and Ellis must brace herself as the wound needs disinfection. Worse, the bullet is still lodged inside, forcing Cole to extract it using tweezers. While she tries her best not to pass out from the excruciating pain, the bullet is finally removed and the wound bandaged. However, several armed men have already reached the machinery room, under strict orders not to fire to avoid blowing the entire ship to pieces. Meanwhile, Captain Spencer continues to mull over the situation. Marco claimed he spotted a fishing boat, but any vessel that far out at sea should be registered. Spencer orders an officer to verify this immediately. Additionally, he requests a background check on Marco, convinced the captain was hiding something over the radio. Back on board, Ellis knows their only chance to call for help is from the bridge, so they need a major distraction to draw the crew's attention away. She suggests going down to the power room to cut off the ship's main power supply. This will plunge the entire ship into complete darkness, giving them the perfect opportunity to reach the bridge, while the crew tries to fix the blackout. Setting a controlled fire in the power station, they let the flames spread. But Marco is no fool. Realizing it's a distraction, he orders his men to spread across the deck and wait to ambush them when they emerge. Meanwhile, Joseph is tasked with initiating fire protocols and going below to put out the flames, his punishment for getting knocked out by a woman, and he had better not mess it up, as Marco's patience is wearing thin. By the time Joseph reaches the power bay, the fire has grown aggressively, rendering fire extinguishers useless. Furthermore, leaking battery acid spreads everywhere when sprayed with water. Joseph reports this to Marco, who is busy heading to the tower, certain he will find the stowaways there. Marco reaches a high vantage point. From his high vantage point, Marco can see almost the entire deck, but by then, Cole has already reached the bridge, taking out the guard with his bare hands, so Ellis can re-trigger the distress signal to call for help. Marco calls for a roll call over the radio, but the guard on the bridge fails to answer, revealing Cole and Ellis's location and prompting Marco to send his men immediately. After Cole kills a second attacker, the radio link with Spencer is restored. Hearing gunfire, Spencer demands to know what is happening, and Ellis urgently informs him that Captain Marco is a criminal and they need immediate rescue. Before leaving, Cole secures a radio with a rubber band holding down the talk button to listen in on bridge communications. Then they head down to hide in Ellis's cabin until help arrives. Looking at a photo of her daughter, Ellis begins to panic, fearing she might never see her again. Meanwhile, Marco gathers his men on the bridge. Although saddened by the loss of a comrade, Marco reassures them that they will now split his share of the payout, urging them to stay focused for the next 2 hours until the handover takes place. Cole listens to everything through the hidden radio, though Ellis doesn't understand what the handover refers to, only that it will happen before help can arrive. Back on land, Yoran is furious because the sale of KMG has been suspended following revelations that the police officers were imposters and Tibu was assassinated. Cameron has now been named CEO. Moments later, Yaron receives a call from Marco, completely unaware that Cole is listening in. On the call, they admit to killing Tibu and outline plans to murder Cameron after the exchange. Having heard enough, Ellis spots men approaching in the hallway, forcing them to escape through the window immediately. Meanwhile, Spencer reviews Marco's background check, discovering a prior criminal record for smuggling. Furthermore, Marco's entire crew consists of ex-military personnel and mercenaries, making a thorough search of every container mandatory. Ellis had also mentioned during the call that Cole Reed was with her. Although not listed on company rolls, his name is all over the news. Spencer wonders why an alleged cop killer is on a ship with mercenaries in international waters, but he is determined to find out as they race toward the vessel at full speed. Taking no chances, Spencer requests real-time satellite imagery, which reveals crew members patrolling with automatic weapons, an immediate red flag. He calls for the Special Forces commander to prepare for an assault. Back on the ship, Cole and Ellis do their best to stay hidden while awaiting rescue. But as Cole rappels down an access shaft with a rope, the villains spot him and open fire from above, forcing him to drop. The noise from Cole's fall alerts crew members searching the lower deck. Unarmed, Cole faces approaching hostiles. Meanwhile, Ellis tries to flee, but is intercepted by Joseph, who strikes her in the face and drags her to the bridge. On the USS Navy vessel, Spencer is 75 minutes away, too long given the circumstances, so he dispatches special forces in speedboats for an emergency boarding. Marco and his men head to the compartment where the noise originated. Cole waits in the shadows to eliminate them, but Marco locks the heavy doors from the outside, trapping Cole inside until they deal with the Navy. Meanwhile, Navy Intel reviews Cole's file, discovering he comes from a decorated family of police officers, raising doubts about the news media's narrative framing him as a killer. Cole's record shows him to be a decorated hero up until he disobeyed orders from a superior officer, resulting in a botched reconnaissance mission where his father died saving him. Spencer bets his pension that Tibu Campalo's real killer is aboard the ship and that Cole is seeking vengeance. By this time, Cole breaks open a ventilation grate and crawls through the ductwork toward the cargo bay where the captives are held. However, before he can exit, an incoming vessel loaded with armed men arrives. The handover Marco mentioned. They have come to take custody of the victims to profit from the trafficking operation. Using the Rolex watch Tibu gave him, Cole unscrews the grate fasteners. Simultaneously, Marco calls Yaron, refusing to hand over the captives until payment is received. Moments later, a wire transfer of $2.5 million goes through. That equals roughly $100,000 per captive. Bertus, the criminal leader of the incoming vessel, greets Marco warmly and asks to inspect the human cargo, claiming he hasn't had female company in a long time. In the next scene, Cole emerges from the anchor chain locker, climbing along the outer hull to reach the main deck. However, he faces even greater odds, as Bertus's men are heavily trained, ruthless mercenaries. Before Bertus can select a female captive, gunshots echo across the deck, putting everyone on high alert. Marco admits there is a stowaway on board, a minor inconvenience he hasn't eliminated yet, and offers Bertus a discount for the delay. Marco's and Bertus's mercenaries sweep the ship, but Cole systematically eliminates them one by one. Meanwhile, Ellis uses a shard of broken glass to cut her bindings and kills the guard watching her. As the guard collapses with glass jammed into his neck, Ellis grabs his weapon and waits for Joseph, shooting him dead the moment he enters. In an intense stairwell firefight, Cole takes down 5 mercenaries in under 30 seconds. Armed with their weapons, he becomes an unstoppable threat. Marco appears with a heavy machine gun, unleashing a hail of bullets and chasing Cole down multiple levels, forcing Cole to grab a fire axe to defend himself. Bertus steps into the passageway, but before he can raise his gun, Cole hurls the fire axe with deadly precision, striking Bertus in the head and dropping him like a sack of bricks. When Marco corners Cole, his gun clicks empty. Cole charges with the axe, initiating a brutal struggle of strength. Marco overpowers Cole, stabbing him in the shoulder and attempting to throw him overboard. Cole catches himself on the gangway ladder connecting to Bertus's ship, locking them in a life-or-death battle where the loser falls into the sea. The latter sways violently as Marco swings the axe at Cole. Cole manages to plunge a knife into Marco's foot and leg, causing both men to crash onto the deck of the criminal vessel. On Bertus's ship, the final showdown unfolds. Marco brandishes a knife while Cole wields a cargo hook, giving him leverage against his larger opponent. Cole drives the hook through Marco's arm, stabs him in the shoulder, and uses the leverage to slam him to the deck. With Marco incapacitated, Cole picks up a spear gun, telling him, "This is for Tibu," before executing him with a bolt to the head. Navy SEALs board the vessel shortly after and detain Cole, but Ellis intervenes, explaining that Cole is the hero and that dozens of victims in the shipping containers need urgent medical aid. Navy medical personnel arrive to treat the survivors. Meanwhile, Cole retrieves Marco's personal phone, obtaining call logs that reveal his mission is not yet complete. He steals Bertus's vessel and escapes before Captain Spencer arrives. In the final sequence, Cameron steps out of his father's funeral and gets into his luxury vehicle, only to find Cole waiting in the back seat. Terrified, the young man confesses he took bribes to allow extra containers onto his father's cargo ships, claiming he didn't know human trafficking was involved. Before exiting the car, Cole tells him his father died because of his greed, a burden he must carry for the rest of his life. Later that evening, Yaron Danilis drives through the city in the same luxury car seen at the beginning of the film. The truck that broadsides him at high speed is driven by Cole. Cole steps out of the wreckage to deliver up-close vengeance, putting a bullet through the head of Yaron, the mastermind behind his boss and best friend's murder. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to leave a like and comment. Let us know in the comments which movie you'd like us to cover next.